Alright, now, the cows work for me. That means that they calve in the spring. Some people say, well, I can't do that. I got to be out there watching cows when they're calving. I know if I got a problem when I pull up in the pasture, I go out there I move them every 3 days, but I'll get into that in just a minute. But I don't necessarily go out there and check them every day when they're calving. I think they really know how to do that. I realize that every now and then you'll have a mishap. That goes to the compost pile. And you say, well, see how, I'm sorry. But no, if I catch them, really, I will try to catch the problems. But I just don't have them. It would be abnormal presentation. It won't be calving difficulty because of the bull influence. And guess what? We've been trained that we want bulls with that are kind of narrow in the shoulder and all this, so they're calve easy. They have found out that masculine bulls, the gestation on calves, and they've done a bunch of cows, the gestation period on calves from a real masculine bull is usually almost 2 weeks shorter than that of a steerling. And with a bunch of data, they found out these real masculine bulls have calves that are less calving problems than the tighter shoulder looking things. So I want my bull, when I walk up to him and look him in the face, I want to know the bull. I don't have to walk around and say, oh, what kind of hardware do you take? And when I'm looking at the hardware, I want some huge factories. I didn't say abnormal shape, huge factories, and a good looking delivery system. And then I want them to be interested in delivery when the cow is interested in him. Okay? Well, that's usually not but about 8 hours, 8, 12 hours. All right? So anyway. So now we got to go to the grass thing real quickly. And then, now that we're going to the grass thing, I'm going to show you what real pastures are supposed to look like. First, down with the lights. All right, we're going from the boat. This is what your pasture should look like in the summer. Do you see that there's Johnson grass? There should be 14, 16 species of grasses, what some people call weeds. Ragweed is 20% protein and 70% friggin' TDN. It's higher quality than any grass under it. Are you going to clip it off? You're going to train your cows to eat ragweed. And they will love it. They will eat lots of what people call weed. And Johnson, I see folks killing Johnson grass. That's the highest quality summer grass that you can have. And summer grasses are a lot higher in energy than cool season grasses. It's a lot easier to finish cattle on warm season grasses than it is on cool season grasses. And the limitation for finishing is not protein, it is energy. That's why they feed them friggin' corn. Energy. We're not going to feed them friggin' corn. Now they may eat some seeds, but that's not pure starch like corn. Okay? So it won't screw up their fat. I'll show you a couple. Now you notice there are some jerseys in there. And there's some more. And there's some finishing calves in there, and there's some jerseys. The jerseys are there because what I do is I breed all my heifers the first time to a Jersey bull. That's what I started doing just for calving ease. Because I don't push my heifers, they're all grass. And so they're not gigantic heifers that wean. You know, when the time I put the bull in, they're about 600-700 pounds. Okay?
What age?
They're about 14 months back. Yes, sir. Well, actually, 13 to 14. Okay. So anyway, and then, but this is, see the Johnson, ooh, now show it another. See there in there? Oh. Now this is what your pasture should look like. Let me tell you, do you know that that pasture has not had fertilizer on it in 8 years? Commercial fertilizer. It's had fertilizer, but no commercial fertilizer. I do not use commercial fertilizer. I save that whatever it is an acre. That's why I can raise the cattle. My pastures get better and better every year because the organic matter is rising. The key to it is organic matter. And some folks say, well, we can't replenish our organic matter. Some people have been doing this for a while. They've gone from 1 to 6% organic matter. You can, but you can't do it without a cow. You got to have the interaction between the cow and seed. Now the only bad thing about this picture of the cows is there's too few cows in there in that space. I wrote down, let's see what that stocking rate is. I move these cows every day. Where did I do it? Right here. Oh, yeah. I always throw stuff down. No, thank you. Let's see. Now, I calculated last night just for the shish kebab of it. If I can find it, I can't. We'll go for something else. But,
you're moving those cows every day. How much are they wasting?
I thought you said you were moving them every 3 days.
That's the cow herd.
right, that's the cow herd that you saw initially. These right here are moved daily. When I start next spring, they're going to be moved twice daily. And I'm going to have set up 60 paddocks out of polywire.
How many acres do it?
Huh?
How many acres does it?
These 30 cows will be on 40 acres. That's why I have to feed a little hay in the wintertime, because a lot of my buddies that are doing this mob grazing and so forth, they have a lot more acres per cow. But anyway, these cows, I estimated them to weigh about 25,000 pounds, and so those paddocks are 1.5 acres to average about 1.5 acres. And I move them daily. The key, are you ready for this? The key to growing grass is to concentrate cows, the hoof action, as kinetic energy. What you're trying to do is you're trying to build soil. You cannot build soil by putting on fertilizer, spraying weeds, clipping, because that alters the plants. The only way you can build soil is a bunch of these cows in short and small area. Some of them are putting 1 million pounds per acre and moving them 8 times a day. And have increased the stocking rate on their farm in like 8 years, have doubled and tripled the amount of grass they grow. So it's like going out and getting a free farm. So I'm going to have a free farm one of these days. And some people fuss about drought. It'll be drought proof. Now if it gets super, super dry, I may have to cut down a little bit on stocking rate. It's always good to have a little common sense, right? But I'm telling you this works. And see, go ahead and see there. Look at that. Don't they look happy? There, oh, they so happy. All right, we keep going. I'm just going to show you some more pictures. There, now back right down there and down there, they just grazed that. I think you can tell that's shorter, but we're going to go a few more. This is where they're going next. And you can tell what the date is. All right, go ahead. That's next. That's got a little, this one's got a little, each one of them's got a little different, and that's got one little bare spot. That's where the water is, and that's where I put my mineral feeder, and that's, yeah. All right. No fertilizer. That right there, the tops of that is full of energy. That will finish cabbage. That'll put your choice grade on. It will. All right, go ahead. Now this is one I think that has been great. Yeah, this one's been great. You see, all right, go again. Yeah, that was one that was great.
I think I was even the ground.
Right, yeah, that, now just to show you what it looked like after, it's been recently raised. This is how much foliage, and you got to leave a solar panel. Grass is 90% efficient in capturing sunlight and converting it to energy. What did I say? Leaves are. And if you don't got leaves, are you going to capture any over in it? Shish kebab, you ain't got nothing to catch it. And the taller your plants are, the deeper your roots are. And the organic matter actually comes from decaying roots. And bacterial, well, not bacteria, it's other organisms in the soil. All these microbes are down there fighting, and they're having wars, and boy, it'd make a good movie. And they're just, and then earthworms, and they're sliming the soil. And when they slime, they make aggregates. You ever heard of aggregates? I know some of you saw it. It makes little, the soil clumps together. It makes little aggregates. When it rains, we just saw a demonstration on that. If you don't have the aggregation in the soil, when it rains, the soil just, fine particles just seal over, and the water runs off and goes to your neighbor's farm. Of course, I hope I got a neighbor what does that, and then all his water, I say, come on, bring it on. It's coming to me. And then if you got aggregates, it soaks in the ground. Your soil is aerated. You got microbes working. Now you got soil. Now you're building up organic matter. Organic matter holds water. Organic matter makes minerals available, and organic matter buffers the soil where you don't have to use lime anymore. It'll buffer pH of 7. And the thing that helps build the organic matter also is earthworms. So you're attracting earthworms in the cow piles, and you always got litter. When you come in there and the grass is this tall, you want to eat about, they'll go in, have you watched cows eat? Competitive, they go in like lawnmowers. They can knock off about each bite's about 2 inches deep. And they're taking about 50, 60 bites a minute. They are getting that shoulder to shoulder. Going down through here, you got a long narrow potty is the best design. They're going down through here, it takes more fencing, but they're going down through here and they're eating and competitively eating, and then what they don't, after a while some of it starts coming out the other end. That come out the other end, 80% of what you just ate, mineral-wise, just was deposited right here. But now the earthworms, well, the dung beetles come in and they get in the pile and kind of mix the bottom of the bottom half of manure. They start mixing it with the soil, and then the earthworms come up, and you got litter on the ground, keep the ground cool. It'll be 10 to 12 degrees cooler than the ground over there that's got little short grass on it. Now that is waterproofing right there in the bay, because the ground's not as hot. And microbes, they don't live. You get up about 90 degrees, you cook them. You're going to cook your soil. Without live microbes in your soil, you do not have soil, you got dirt. In order for dirt to work, you got to keep putting fertilizer on it to grow grass. Why don't you look at the long-term thing and get the microbes going and increase the organic matter and get some moisture holding capacity in your soil, and then, whoop. And like I say, some of the things that I used to think were weeds. And of course I got all kinds of legumes, I got cloves, and see if you let, wait, I got to give you the key. Write this down. The key is a short grazing period followed by an adequate resting period. Overgrazing is not how much they eat off the plant. They could be out there with plants this tall and eventually get it down to there, okay? Well, you'd say if it's still 8 inches tall, it's not really overgrazed, is it? It's still a lot of plant material there. But say it takes a month for them to do that. Then I bring in a mob of cattle, same deal, and they eat it down in 1 day. And I move them on. The root system and the plants they ate down in 1 day are completely intact. They're healthy. You've got a canopy above, you've got leaves left. They start catching the sunlight, it's going to immediately start growing back. The one that was nip, 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 every time they nip, 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 the energy is to regrow is now having to come from the roots, and the roots are dying. You're losing your root system. A plant without roots is not going to do much, is it? You've got to have roots. And all this is happening underneath the surface where we can't see it, but by golly, some people say about soil testing and stuff. I don't soil test if my grass is dark green and growing. I don't care what the soil test is. And really a soil test doesn't tell you much because it's usually, they say, what, 6, 8 inches? That ain't worth it. I mean, it gives you a little bit of a guide, and it's probably for crops and stuff where they have short roots like corn and stuff, probably better, right, Ryan? But for pasture, and the thing about it, most of the weeds, like ragweed and stuff, are deeper rooted than the grasses. And a lot of us have been, now some of you live further north and you do use more cool seed grasses. I grant you that. And they do better up there. But right here, when I first came here, it was hardly any Bermuda grass or anything for that matter. We introduced some of it. But now, if you use this system, you'll find out the seed bank will, if you graze short period and give the plants time to recover. Now, you say, well, how long is that? Well, there's no magic formula. In the spring, when you got a lot of moisture and things are moving real fast, it may be just 4 weeks. Now, with my ryegrass, it's only 2 weeks. Well, I plant my sow Marshall ryegrass every fall on top of the ground, just to accumulate some more seed. Sir?
Just on top of all that.
Well, I graze this down now in the fall. This is my winter stockpile. I keep some there. And I graze it down to 2 or 3 inches where I can get some soil disposed. And the Lord gave me clover galore. So there's my nitrogen. And then I put the ryegrass seed down. And then about the 1st of March, I make sure there's nothing in there eating. Except all the friggin' deer come along. But, and then, you know what to do. And then, about the end of March to the 1st of April, I go in with ryegrass, no fertilizer, with ryegrass, and I can put weight gain on calves till up in June on just ryegrass. There's not a grass any higher quality than ryegrass. There's not a summer grass any higher quality than Johnson grass or corn. I'm talking about the leaves. They're in the same family. Or some of the Sudan grasses and all that, those are real high quality, but I don't want to have to plant them. But what I'm saying is if you do this short period of time of grazing and then a long rest, you'll start seeing stuff come out there you don't even know what it is. It'll be like big blue stem, eastern gamma grass, whatever's in your seed bank. You don't know what's there until you give it a chance to work itself out. And then it'll start showing up. Now, warm season grasses, didn't I just tell you, will finish cattle quicker than cool season grass. So they're wonderful things. Because the energy, just think the sun is more intense, longer days of daylight, and what makes plant energy? It's the interaction of sun and chlorophyll in the leaves. You gotta have them both. But if you don't leave, then you're not capturing sunlight, you're baking the grain. you see kind of how simple this is? The only way you can make it work is power fence. And he and I are excellent at building power fence. And now they got some energizers. I'm a Gallagher man because one of my former students was a Gallagher representative. So he and I, of course, are good friends, so we're going to stay there. And, but anyhow, they've got a new I-Series energizer. It's dependable. It's got a little monitor on it that just sits on the outside of your keep box, and you can drive by that. I've got it where I drive by it every day, and I can glance at it, and it tells me exactly what's going on. And it's got the remote that actually works, so I can pull up to the fence anywhere I want to, cut it off, walk through it. When I get back to it, cut it back on. I just got to remember, did I cut it off? I remember if I don't forget. I'm kind of forgetful, but I seem to remember that pretty good. But what I'm saying is that fencing has got, you get a good quality poly wire or polytape, or you can even roll up aluminum wire. You know, it'll roll. You all on your,
I like aluminum wire.
right, some people like aluminum.
Use both.
Right, 12.5 gauge, I've got aluminum. It conducts electricity a little better than galvanized coating. You use a class 3 galvanized 12.5 gauge. Yeah. Here's the key. Most folks go to the co-op. It's got to be 170,000 PSI. And most of it they'll want to say is 200,000 PSI. Now you can take 170,000 PSI. Can I pick at you, big man? Careful, careful, careful. I'm going to be careful. And there's techniques for wrapping. You don't have to use the little sleeves and all that mess. You can wrap it all day long. And put in insulators and wrap it, and oh, it's easy to install, and it's very dependable. But I think for proper wrapping, you got to have somebody that size. 130 pounds. We had 300-pounders working at the university when I was putting up a lot of fence, and none of them were 3 could wrap. Now this big man, I'm quite sure can wrap. Don't you think so? But, you know, it's a technique. It's all in how you, but if you learn to wrap this wire and put it up and use poly wire and step in post and all that, you can move it, you get reels. And poly wire, you don't, I mean, in here, never use less than 12.5 gauge perimeter fence. Don't buy that little old 20, 16 gauge, 18 gauge. And the poly wire should be white, because it's the most visible, except when it snows. But I mean, it's got to be visible. It's a psychological barrier. But I've had a bad bull here and a bad bull here and a hot wire between them, and they didn't. If it'd been a barbed wire fence, it'd been crumpled. 5 minutes. So the only way we can do this controlled grazing, though, is to set up. Did you see those poly wires across there? And step in post. You've got to fix it where. Now what I did. Turn the light on. What I did on a place, because you don't want to, and it's not exactly the way some of my cohorts do. And I don't draw very well, so excuse me. But I've got like a long ridge, and I've got several of these long ridges in this green. It's like, all right. And I've got actually a path that goes there. And I've got, this is what's best. Or is that a good?
I don't know for now. It was for me, maybe not for
Oh,
you.
yes, boss, this is it. This is the race.
Now's not a good time to ask.
And then down in here, one spot, I got an extra thing where I've got a water here, the fence goes across, you know, where I can, and I'm trying to oversimplify this. But what I do is, this is poly wire. It'll last over 10 years if you get good poly wire. If you get UV stabilized step-in post, Gallagher recommended. and step them in the ground, and you can put them like 30, 40 feet apart. So they're $2.25 Davis discount. And you put them, I get them by the boxes, 50 little box. And so, I'm glad we got a young person here that's believing in this stuff. You know, without young folks, we ain't gonna make it, right? But anyway, and so you got your, so what I do is I've got the reel. Let's just start here. And I want them in this tank right here. So, and here's the water here. I got to open the water up, and I've got to actually. So what I'll do, I'll reel this up right there, and then when I reel it up, though, I put it across like that. See, I've reeled this up, and then this one that's right here. Well, when I reel it up to here, I stop here and then just pull it across the line. Got me? Then I kind of make it that sense finally. And so now the cows go in here and they just walk in there and they eat, right? Now I'm just going to do it in order. Sometimes you bounce around. All right, so I want to go the next pack. So I take this up, unreel this. The cows are standing right here. By the time I get this reeled up, they've already walked in there and they're over there eating. And then I drop that reel and just hang it on the fence right here. Then I've got another reel right here. It takes 2 reels, I'm sorry, to do my technique. And I take this one's got wire on it, and I unreel it back to here, and then I take the posts that were here and put them over there. And then the next time, see, I do this, woo-hoo. And then this one comes forward to there, and then the posts that were here come over there. And I can do this in 15 minutes, and I can move my set of 30 cows in 15 minutes. And I've got it set up in different sections all over the farm.
So that, do they go back to the center to get water then?
Yes, sir. They walk through the lane, and sometimes this lane will get just a little ragged. But remember, I'm not going to be in here, but like if it had 8 paddocks, I'm not going to be there for 8 days.
Right.
So if it happens to rain, gets it a little muddy on my lane, that one little spot, I don't worry about it because it's going to dry out and be good and hard and all that. It's not going to be a mess. Right. And they tend to walk the same. Now some people say, well, you need to build it at random in different ways there. But you'll work yourself to death putting up polywire unless you've got several people that work with you. When I look around to see who's going to put up the polywire, I'm looking at him if I look in the mirror. But see, you've got to make it work. If you make it too complicated, folks, you're going to get tired of it and you're going to quit. Now next year, to make this thing more concentrated, I'm just going, here comes more poly. I already got the polywire, I've got to buy a few more stickers. Now this post on the end right here is a fiberglass post. Now Gallagher has a wonderful fiberglass post. You don't like your fiberglass?
Oh, I think it's great.
And the poles are 1.5 inches apart. You can space the wire any darn way you want. By God. Well, they make a shorter one. They make a 66 inch, and then they make a 48 inch. Well, it's really 49. But you can, the 66 inch I drive down to 48 inches, and that's my perimeter fence. And my perimeter fence is 6 strands of high tensile wire because I've got sheep, goats, and guard dogs in different parts of the farm.
Which ones are hot?
All of them. When you got a little moisture, ask me how many ground rods I've got. You can't have less than 3, at least 10 foot apart, hooked together with galvanized wire with a galvanized clamp. Everything's got to be galvanized! Or aluminum. Or polymeric. But I mean, you can't use copper, is what I'm trying to say. A copper ground rod. You can't mix metals, dipsticks. You've got to keep it the same. Which none of you doing that, so there's not a dipstick in the room. All right, so, but some people have put an old piece of rebar, or, you know, they wrap the wire in, and they wonder why, oh, my fence doesn't work. Yeah, it ain't supposed to. Without a ground system, they'd never work. I've got 11 ground rods. And I've probably got, wire-wise, I don't know, 20 miles of wire.